Hey guys, very exciting. Today is the first day in the greenhouse for season 2022. I am ecstatic. The sun is shining and is hot in here, which I absolutely love. Today we're going to be seeding onions and we're going to be seeding leeks. They're earlier season crops and they need to be started earlier in the season to get that full growth period for transplanting in the spring. So I want to talk a little bit about how we fill our trays. I've actually done some upgrades here from previous seasons because we're doing more production of stuff and I need to make things flow a little easier. We're working with a little more volume. So I want to talk about the first thing here is this is a cage tank that the cage got lost on it essentially. There was nothing really wrong with the tank, but it was just kind of floating around here. And I thought of, why don't we use it to hold soil? So I broke about 4 bales of 3.8 cubic bales of soil up yesterday, and it actually fit perfectly into this thing, which is awesome. I made a little sifter here. So this actually will sit on top of that cage there, and it won't move or rattle around, and then I can process the soil through that to get any of the nitty-gritties out we don't want. So we just started filling trays. In the past, we would load the table right here with soil and we'd fill it on the table. I just started a new invention. It's crazy, I know, but we're gonna fill the trays right out of this until it probably gets too low to manage, but we're gonna take the one step out of having to move that soil one more time. So we're just gonna, fill the trays here and finish them on the table. So that I'm really excited to keep trying and see how that's gonna work. The other thing is I made another, I guess, prep table, if you will. The one over here is mainly for seeding, but I'm gonna use this one mainly for finishing our seedling trays, and I'm gonna use this for vermiculite because we cover all our trays with fine vermiculite. You can see right here, and it takes up a lot of space, a lot of area, because we have to lay each tray out, we got to cover each tray, and we got to knock it off, clean them up. So what we did there is I just made another clean table that I can pile vermiculite in the corner actually, or just scoop out of that container, and I can probably do, I don't know, I'm gonna say 20 trays at a whack instead of doing like 3 or 4. So I can do a lot of seeding, I can do a lot of soil tray filling at once, I can do a lot of seeding at once, and I can do a lot of vermiculite covering at once. And that way we're not jumping between each process like after 3 or 5 trays. We can do it after like 20 trays. And so when we're seeding 100 trays of one thing, that'll make the process go a lot quicker because I can focus on seeding just at one time. And the seeder actually takes up a lot of this table, so we're excited to do that. Behind me are all the trays I just sanitized yesterday. We use a Sanidate 5.0. You can find that process in previous videos from other years. But one other quick thing I really want to talk about is I love efficiency, I love processes, and I love simplicity. So what I do is I work in sets of, I work in sets of 10 here, okay? So after I sanitize my trays, about 14 fit into the barrel I do, but they have to be laid out and we clean them off. I start separating into groups of 10, and then I work in groups of 10 until they get placed back on the benches to start growing. So we just brought this group of 10 over here. We're gonna start filling this with soil. Here's another group of 10 that's filled with soil, and I'm just gonna start lining these up. And we need to seed 40 trays of onions alone today. So I will know that 4 stacks right off the bat need to be onions. It takes the guessing game out of this. I had stopped counting when I did that over there, which, takes the brain function and puts it to other stuff. Helps me focus on other things instead of just sitting here counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, So our process of filling the trays is quite simple. What we do is we'll fill the tray up loose. We put it onto this table, and then we take our nifty brush and we just brush the loose soil off the top of the tray, and then we also brush it off the edges of the tray. I don't like a lot of excess stuff hanging around on my trays. It just clutters and makes the greenhouse a lot more messy than it needs to be. So I like taking that extra 5 seconds per tray and just making them clean. So then what we're gonna do now is, we used to really brush out a lot of the soil and it took a lot of time, but what we do now is we just kind of lightly compress these trays down to get a little bit of a divot in there, so when you do seed that seed, there's about a 1/4 inch, maybe 1/2 inch of play between the top and the soil to get that seed in there and seed nicely. So that's just a quick process of what I'm doing here. You know, this can be done in so many different ways, just whatever works for your operation, your size, your scale, what you have available to you. I'd love to get mechanized stuff to replace a lot of this in the future. It's just not in the cards for investments right now, and we're not really at the scale where it's really needed. So, but building small things like this that might only cost, you know, I think doing this alone cost me like $5. You know, I had everything here, just some time and energy into it. The table, because plywood is so expensive right now, cost me like $100 between the materials and, you know, labor. So, but, you know, what am I into this? $150, you know, versus machines that, you know, are thousands and thousands of dollars. So I can break things up, which makes it really nice. So yeah, one thing about our trays is we seed with a vacuum seeder, and unfortunately the vacuum seeder does not work with wet conditions or wet soil very well. So we have to work with dry soil till we finish our seeding process, which I don't love because you don't get that moisture in the actual soil here right off the bat. So it takes a little longer to get the moisture down into these cells after we seed, but if you keep on light watering throughout the first couple days, that'll help soak it in. So yeah, I'm gonna get to filling a bunch more trays, and then we'll do a little excerpt on seeding some trays as well, and I'll talk a little bit about that next.